Edo State House of Assembly has suspended the chairman and vice chairman of the 18 local government areas in the state for 2 months, citing alleged gross misconduct and insubordination. The Assembly directed the council leaders to hand over administration to the legislative leaders of their respective local governments. This decision followed a letter from Governor Senator Monday Okpeblo accusing the council leaders of insubordination after they failed to submit financial reports from September 23, 2022 to date as directed. The governor's directive, however, was reportedly resisted by the council leaders who cited their financial autonomy as upheld by the Supreme Court. During Tuesday's plenary presided over by Speaker Right Honorable Blessing Agbebaku, the Assembly adopted a motion for the suspension of the council officials. The motion was moved by Honorable Isibo Ade, it's a Northeast 1, and seconded by Honorable Donald Okobe, Akoko Edo 2. The governor's petition dated December 16 and titled Insubordination and Gross Misconduct by the 18 local government chairmen over their refusal to submit financial records for scrutiny prompted the Assembly to act under Section 20B of the Local Government Act, which empowers the House to suspend local government officials for 2 months pending investigation. The motion sparked a heated debate in the Assembly, leading to a rowdy session. Out of 24 members, 14 supported the suspension, 6 opposed it, and 3 remained undecided. Majority Leader Honorable Charity cautioned against the suspension, urging the Assembly to grant the chairman a fair hearing by inviting them to defend the allegations before the Committee on Local Government and Chieftaincy Affairs. What do you make of this development in Edo State right now, George?
Okay, what I want to say here is that the ruling of the Supreme Court, granting financial autonomy to the local governments is the provision of the Constitution, the ground norm of the land. I think that some state governments, especially with what I just played out with Edo State, shows that they are not really aware. They are still used to the old ways where the State Assembly have oversight functions on the local government, especially on issues like this. That is the law that they cited in suspending the council chairman for refusal, to abide by, the position of the government, the state government, to kind of investigate their finances and all of that. So for me, the beauty of democracy is that we have an arm of government that is like the arbiter, that is the judiciary. And the local government chairmen have gone to court, seeking for the court to interpret the matter. The matter is already stated. The Supreme Court has given a judgment, which is the interpretation of the Constitution. So the state assembly does not have the right, to interfere, to meddle into the affairs of the local government anymore. So that law that existed before now is inconsistent with the provisions of the Constitution of the land, which was just recently interpreted by the Supreme Court. If it were to be before, when they were having the joint account and things like that, that state law, subsists, which means that they are under the state government. The state government from time to time can call for, review of whatever. But right now, with the provision of the Constitution, the state government is yet to realize that they do not have such right anymore against the local government. So, like I said, the beauty of democracy is that we have 3 arms. An arm, which is the judiciary, that is there to look into what the laws of the land state is there to interpret. And the local government chairman have gone to court for seeking interpretation of the matter. So I believe they will win. Based on the ruling of the Supreme Court, which has granted them that financial autonomy. The state government does no longer have that power, oversight function over the local government. Just like the federal government cannot come and ask state government, let's know how you spent your money and things like that, because they are federating unit. The same thing applies to local government. So the mistake was made because they refused to realize that things have changed. If you listen, you will agree with me that some member of the House refused to vote. They were like, we should review this matter or call them, not for suspension. Let's listen to them to know the reason why they have refused. That was like a gentleman agreement. but they fade. These other ones fade, thinking that that law that existed before now is still subsistent. It's no longer subsistent.
You're right. Well, we wonder is in the first instance, when you say the state governors have oversight function over local government.
So the state assembly.
The state assembly. This letter was written by the governor to the state assembly.
Yes.
Complaining of insubordination and gross misconduct. One would wonder, how is it insubordination when in the first instance the constitution does not empower the governor to venture into the affairs of the local government?
No.
Hold on, particularly asking them to submit their statement of account. It is the state houses of assembly that make laws for the local government. Now, it is even the state houses of assembly that one would say can say, okay, we want to look into probably financial misappropriation or how you have spent your money so far and all of that. Is it in the place of the state executive to look into the affairs, the financial affairs of local government councils?
Let me, prior to this period, most of the state governments, sees the local government as appendage to them, that they have the oversight through the state assembly. The governor did not just write straight to each of the local government chairmen. He wrote to the assembly that has the powers to make laws for the assembly.
Now,
for the local government, asking them.
That wasn't what happened. What happened was, let me take you back to what happened. Now, the local government, after the inauguration of Monday Obeblo, the 18 local government chairmen in Edo State paid him a courtesy visit, to congratulate him and all of that. Now, the person that sat over that meeting was not even the governor, it was the deputy governor that addressed them. And in response to the courtesy visit and all that, he now said that they are to submit their statement of accounts from 2023 till date, and they are to submit it to the office of the secretary of the governor. This was what happened. And now they did not do that because they are saying that they are financially autonomous and they are not answerable to the state governor. Now, during that meeting, they also gave them time frame to submit that statement of account, and clearly they did not do that, and which prompted the governor to now write to the state houses.
I copy the entire scenario. I agree with you. This is part of what we've been talking. The state government not realizing that they do not have such powers. Even before that, they never had such powers to directly interfere in the administration of the local government. It is the assembly that make laws. But this is just the executive rascality that we're talking about. The man has come into office, and in a way to cage, he decided to invite them. One of those things he wanted to use against them was to say, submit your financial report, knowing fully well that, knowing fully well that some of them would have, done some kind of financial misappropriation and things like that. That would have been one of the things he would use against them for submission and all of that. Unfortunately, he failed to realize, or his handlers never told him, that things have changed. With the ruling of the Supreme Court, which has granted financial autonomy to the local government, they are no longer under the supervision of even the state houses of assembly by that law. Because they have their own legislative assembly, which are the councillors. They have their own. So those people are the ones to hold them responsible, not that of the state assemblies for the governor.
Make laws,
for the state.
All right, very well. Let me come to you, David. Now, the question I want to ask is this. The State House of Assembly, can the State House of Assembly suspend an elected officer in this instance? Can the State House of Assembly suspend elected chairman? Because, the suspension happens when it was an appointment, caretaker chairman of local governments and all of that. But then that has come to an end. It's no more an appointment. Now, if it's an appointment and the suspension was done by the person that appointed you, one could understand that. But these are elected local government chairmen. Can the State House of Assembly suspend them?
Okay. Before I answer a question, let me say this.
Go ahead.
We have nascent democracy, which is practiced all over the world. But in Nigeria, we have the corrupted version of democracy. That's what we practice here. So you don't expect all that is good to happen. I want to let us have this in mind before we answer your question.
Right.
Senator Mende Obelo of the APC will never allow PDP chairman to work with him. It's practically impossible. It's practically impossible. In fact, if we must find every reason to kill a dog, as long as we decided. So we don't expect that the PDP chairman who came into power through Obaseki will remain in power for so long. Even them, they know the truth that definitely the APC, how would they compensate their followers?
Can't the governor wait for elections?
In that's the corrupted version of democracy. We are impatient people. We can never wait. We want to start eating from the day one because it's about eating. It's about carrying the money. Now, having said that, like my brother George just said, that Supreme Court judgment that gave room for autonomy has not been really, will I say, the National Assembly has not made the law. The National Assembly has to look into it and make a law that states clearly that the State's House of Assembly has no power to suspend the local government chairman. That law is not yet clear. And that's why you still see this meddlesomeness by the State House Assembly. So as it stands today, yes, you are right. The LGS have autonomy, but the various State House Assemblies still have that oversight power over them. The laws are still there. That law has not been revoked by the National Assembly. That judgment of the Supreme Court that granted autonomy to the LGS has not revoked that oversight function that the State House of Assemblies plays over the local government system. And that's why in Edo State, the governor have now decided to use the State House Assembly to suspend the local government chairman. So for now, as long as they have a valid reason, that's in order. It is now left for the LGA chairman to go to the court to seek for interpretations.
Okay, very well. Now, I want to ask a question, but let me come to you before I come back to you, David and Awaji. Now, to the best of my knowledge of the Nigerian Constitution and political procedures, if you want to follow it constitutionally, it is the councillors, that is the legislative arm of the local government. Now, it is the councillors that can actually, legislate and call for a probe into the financial appropriation and misappropriation of local government chairmen. It is the councillors that can actually impeach a local government chairman. Can a governor be suspended or impeached, please?
A governor?
Can a governor be impeached or suspended?
By the president.
But, no, hold on.
It can be impeached by the House Assembly.
Very well. Can the president
cannot be suspended.
Can the president suspend the governor?
He doesn't have that right.
Very well. And now, the same autonomy that the state enjoys now, the local government enjoys it, yes? And the local government has a legislative arm. One would say, why didn't the governor, if he wanted to play that politics and play smartly, why didn't he go through the councillors of these local governments?
You are right.
Go ahead.
But let me say that we make caricature of our democracy and of our political evolution. It makes it laughable. The laws, we have fantastic laws. Like when we are discussing issue by my little knowledge of government, the executive implements, the judiciary interprets, the legislature enacts the laws. But when it comes to real politics, the power of everything of government is in the hand of the executive. And ordinarily, what the governor of Edo did, or what he has done, was too desperate. It was too hasty politically to see what to achieve in the name of having structure. But for me, that's what I was. He wants to have his own structure. But we're talking of laws. Mind you, like I will agree with David. As you're discussing today, the law that all of us clap, and I was somewhere talking, people were clapping hands. The autonomy we are discussing, has it been practiced anywhere? no implementation as we are discussing on this live television program. It has not been implemented. Ordinarily too, there should have been constitutional amendment to support what the, I don't know why the Minister of Justice and Attorney General thought that we lack jurisprudence, that you cannot do anything. They are politicians and they know what they are doing. As it is today, ordinarily there should have been a statement even from the federal government. Stop what you are going to do, but who will do who? Because when you look at it, our constitution has a copy, has made the local government council in Nigeria to be under the state government until that is amended. But as we are discussing today, they have not pushed out from the constitution. Even today, to still get to court, that the chairmen have gone to court. What are they going to rely on? Is it the judgment? We have been told that the constitution is the ground norm. They will cite the constitution that gives us oversight function over the government. So I just pray to avoid this unnecessary lacuna, to avoid this unnecessary conflict in our polity. Politicians should allow the common people of Nigeria to at least have a peace. Because you came into office, all you want to do, or you want to destroy the political system that you came to see. He would have also sat down and in a way lobby. It happened in River State. We all saw in River State, was it 2015 also, when the federal governor came on board, he dissolved the elected whichever by using the court process, and also dissolved the council. Till today, they have not even judged because we're discussing the case is still in the court. So it's politics, because our laws are so flexible that you hide under this one and do your action, your illegal action, to protect your interests. But ordinarily, what the governor of Edo State did, for me, if we are living in the 21st century, what we call the jet age, we should go into this unnecessary abracadabra to get what we want, because the laws are there. Even if the local government is made to be weak, ordinarily you have to protect, not to just come on board and say, oh, you suspend. Like again, it's a pity that the Edo State House of Assembly has played into the hand of the governor. But for him to have written to him, and again, you see, that's what we're doing party politics, this intertwine of APC and PDP. Ordinarily, I would say, without missing with that, Edo State House of Assembly, I would feel is dominated by PDP lawmakers. But what happened in the end? That they couldn't stand for their party. I said, look, governor, can you allow this to be... No, that's what, we must look into that critically. But party interests supposed to have played out. But I feel that PDP should have majority of lawmakers in the state House of Assembly of Edo. But what happened? The letter came from Mr. Governor, and all what they could do is to say we suspend and use the name for insubordination. Are they students, senior student to junior student? It's an insult on our democracy. It's an insult on our politics. So for me, they are going to court in Edo State, which will also say, okay, the topic will not be on illegal suspension. It will be on misappropriation now. That is why you have the right. But suspending the local chairman, it is also wrong constitutionally. But they are the third tier of government in Nigeria. But you can see that in politics in this country, the laws are not obeyed by anybody. All we have is that you have the power to suppress the other person, suppress, and the body language of anybody can speak for his people. I just pray that the Edo State Assembly should not also make caricature of democracy in Edo State, and the government must be very careful. We know he has won the election, whichever way, but the truth is that we need to build our democracy with the tenets. We believe in tenets of democracy. We must allow it to work. But as it is now, for me, it's a laughing stock. It's not up to 2 months in office, and all to do is about structure. I want to rebuild.
If I may ask this question, because now this move by Edo State House of Assembly and the governor of Edo State, Obeblo, appears to
collaboration.
You recall that prior to the emergence of Obeblo as the governor of Edo State, there was a lot of bad blood between the APC and the PDP, and it carried over. At some point, it became personal. You would also recall the attack on one of the Guba candidates then. And now, Obeblo, became governor, and people were applauding him because he started with the low-hanging fruits. But it appears that this is now becoming more like a witch hunt. One would wonder, is this a witch hunt? One would ask questions around the high-handedness of this decision, because now these governors had, this local government chairman, had gotten a restraining order prior to this move by Edo State House of Assembly, had gotten a restraining order, an injunction restraining the governor from interfering into their financial matters. And Edo State House of Assembly goes ahead to make this decision over a letter written by the governor without considering the fact that a restraining order has been given by the court. That's on one hand. Now, on the other hand, one would now question, what is the job of the Edo State House of Assembly? Are they there to, just do whatever the governor wants in this instance, whether it is constitutional or not? Because when you look at these things critically, one would ask, what is even the basis for that letter? Is that letter even constitutional? Is the demand of the governor constitutional? When the judge was speaking, I'll throw this back to Judge. Judge, you spoke about the Supreme Court's judgment over local government financial autonomy. And in that Supreme Court judgment, the Supreme Court clearly removed the state completely from the financial affairs of the local government. It wasn't just even financial autonomy as well. The Supreme Court judgment also touched on certain areas of governance around local government. But the major interest that was highly celebrated was the financial autonomy. Now, how do you see this move panning out in the political ecosystem of Edo State? We won't say that the governor has, brought an ant-infested firewood back to his house.
Oh yes, let me say that at the end of the day, this will strengthen our jurisprudence because the lawyers will interpret. Let me also tell our listeners and our viewers that the position of the Supreme Court is an interpretation of the Constitution. It doesn't even require the National Assembly to enact a law. That is a law on its own. It can be, because at the end of the day, they will all go to the court. Nobody will resort to self-help.
I'm going to go to Supreme Court judgment.
That is the law. It's law. You can ask, after now, you can invite lawyers. They will tell you the position of Supreme Court is law on its own. Finally, the two parties, the two warring factions, will go to the court to seek interpretation of the matter. And it is still the court, which is like the Supreme Court also, that will say that our position is law. They don't need the Assembly, National Assembly, to expunge that aspect of oversight function of the State Assembly on the local government. They don't need it. Supreme Court is above all this. They have interpreted the provisions of the law. So, like you said, the governor, for me, if I were to be one of his advisors, I would tell him clearly, you've made a mistake. You're trying to, swim against the tide. The local government chairmen have a case. They have a case. Because the Supreme Court position is simple. That the state government does not have, even my brother was talking about it, he doesn't think it has been implemented anywhere. I don't think that's the truth. If not because of the crisis happening in the state. No, I'm coming. If not because of the crisis happening in the River State, maybe it would have been easier for we to assess through some of the local government chairmen that they have opened a separate account differently from that of the state government, where this money is being paid. And one of the assembly guy, the local government chairman who has gone to court in Edo State is seeking is that the money should not be paid to their location, should be kept until the resolution of this matter. Yeah. Because the whole essence of this thing is about the money, and nothing more. So for me, I think to agree with you that the governor has invited an ant-infested firewood into it, because it will be a legal tussle and it will strengthen our jurisprudence more.
Apart from being a legal tussle, how do you see that, David? How do you see that affecting Okpebolo's governance in Edo State? Because like it or yes, grassroots is very important in building a political structure. And PDP, of course, will not sit back and watch their structure, be balkanized and destroyed. Because if there is hope of reclaiming that, clinching that governorship position again, it has to start from the structure. Now, how do you see this playing out on one hand, would one say accuse or say that Governor Beblo is trying to silence the voice of opposition, because these are the people that will cry loud and, you know, their followers will listen. How do you see this affecting the governor's political, like ordinarily it would have been a smooth sail, one would say, but how do you see that affecting the governor's political lifespan and, you know, his governance in Edo State?
Like George said, this will strengthen our jurisprudence. These issues will be tested in the courts, and the judgment of court at the end of the day will decide what happens. But at the interim, Okpebolo is definitely, if I were the governor in Nigeria, not abroad, I may likely do what he's doing. I have a lot of followers who have worked with me, and the bulk of the money is going to the various jails.
Why would you likely do
money is the problem here. Money is our problem. It's money.
Now, will you do what he's doing in the way he's doing it? Or will you be smart about the kind of political maneuvering you might play? Like I asked the question, in the first instance, is it within the rights of the Edo State House of Assembly to suspend an elected local government official? Chairman, if one says yes, which means the National Assembly can suspend governors. Now, if the answer is no, who can do that? And it's impeachment or even suspension. That's the councillors. Now, if you're the governor, you say you will do that. I would expect that if you're the governor and you know the law and you know the constitution and you're a smart politician, probably the first thing you should have done is to get the legislative arm of the local government in your favor. And then they can do your bidding. And then no one can fault you, because, I mean, they will be acting, but you know you're playing the drums, but they're the ones acting in your favor. Sure. Don't you think that would have been what a smart politician would do?
Yes, but like we said, politicians in Nigeria exploit the weakness of the law. They exploit the loophole. Yeah, it's true that the Supreme Court has given a judgment granted autonomy for 8 years. Now, the governors will tell you they granted autonomy, but in that judgment, did they remove the oversight function? Because, like in River State, there is a law that gives the River State Assembly the powers to supervise, suspend the local government chairman. The law is there. That
is the local. No,
they did remove the power.
Hold on. That is the local government law.
Yes.
Yes. Now,
Council of State Assembly, it's a state law.
Hold on.
Sorry. I want to add something here. If it is a state law, it is inconsistent with the Constitution of the Federal Republic.
Constitution or judgment of Supreme Court.
Judgment of Supreme Court is the interpretation of the Constitution. It is the interpretation.
That's what I explained.
You cannot exploit.
That is what the governor is telling you. That's not a law. It's a judgment.
Can you exploit what is not consistent?
That's what you are saying.
Because at the end of the day, now let's make it very pedestrian.
Yeah.
Okay.
The Supreme Court has made a judgment, and that judgment stands and can be implemented and is being implemented. Now, there is a state law that is inconsistent with the judgment of the Supreme Court, which is as good as a law. Let me ask you a question. If the local government chairman go to court, who will interpret it?
The judiciary will tell
Good. What is the apex?
I'm coming. Okay.
The highest arm of the judiciary
is the Supreme Court.
So if this tussle ends up in the Supreme Court, what would the Supreme Court rule?
In favor of themselves?
Will they reverse themselves, or they will rule in favor of a state house of assembly?
I just said something some minutes ago.
Go ahead.
I am not a supporter of abuse of law. I am not. Like he just said something. He was so bold he was so blunt to say it. In Nigeria, we keep the law openly, and then nothing will happen. That's what is happening in Edo State. I know maybe also in other state of the.
Would you say because governors have immunity?
It's not. No. Excuse me. Immunity is even in America. But when you go against the law will stand against you. The society will stand against you. But here we celebrate. Sorry, some people even in Edo State are celebrating what the people just did. So the issue we are discussing today is about Nigerians or most Nigerians who are in power looking at the laws inconsequential. But ordinarily, for me, to my informed mind, I don't think it is even right. No matter the political party they belong to. So far they have been elected by the law of the land. That's what I work with me. I have also the political power to lobby. Sorry.
But they went to pay him a courtesy visit.
You know what I'm saying? I said it was if you.
So they pledged.
It is also very wrong.
They told the governor they would work with.
I am coming. Sorry, also they also played in the hand.
They played
it in the hand. It is also wrong. Let me tell you. 2008, I was flying when Obama was the president of America. There was Hurricane Katrina in America, and people were affected. And Obama was to visit New Orleans. There was a chairman of council, what I call it county council in America. And Obama came late. The chairman was bold to say, why did you come late? Here in Nigeria, you can't try that. It's a culture in Nigeria that we bow for president, we bow for governor, we bow for chairman. All because what? It's our cultural heritage. And so we are not to play in politics. Ordinarily, a chairman is also superior to the governor when it comes to governmental issues. But in Nigeria, everything is about cultural. You have to obey. If not, what is the issue? The chairmen were elected by the people also. We call it grassroots. So in US, they call it county council. So what is the problem? The problem is the way we behave. The laws cannot act on. Right. People like you say, let me also say something. I've seen where an institution, Ayo Salami, former Court of Appeal president, got a judgment during Goodluck's administration. Was it implemented? The executive will only, in a way, executive will be swift to implement the laws that fall in favor.
All right.
So for me, we see the law as so far you can. It's not supporting your interest. You overlook, but it is wrong. I must say it is wrong.
All right, very well, Frank. I'll take that as your closing statement. David, that we close. What is your closing statement?
My closing statement is the governor of Edo State, Webolo, should tread softly, because if you begin at this point to destroy democratic institutions, it might catch up with you later. That is my advice to him. All
right. And George, as we close, what do you have to say?
Well, on the issue of Edo State and Okpabole, I will advise him to pipe low. Those local government chairmen were elected by their people. The best he can do is to lobby them to work with him. Because we all know that the major challenge there is the money. The bulk of the money goes to the grassroots. So what comes to the state is not sufficient enough, to run the activities of the state. So that is just the reason. If you can still lobby this man and behind the scene, things can still happen.
All right, very well. Thank you so much, George, for coming on Open Conversation. It's always a pleasure having you. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
And thank you so much, David Oguzere. It's a pleasure having you.
Thank you.
And Frank, I enjoyed your conversation today. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.